Why doesn't the United States recycle like Luxembourg? By Olivia Bezanson. I have been very interested in why our culture doesn't recycle the way that other countries do. I wanted to focus on Luxembourg since I just recently had firsthand experience with how seriously they take recycling. Just last semester, I lived with a host family who expected me to sort my waste into 5 different bins. This was shocking for me coming from a home where we only have 2 bins, one for recycling and one for trash. I quickly became accustomed to the way that the Luxembourgers recycle, and now I find it incredibly bizarre that this system isn't used in the United States. My research takes a sociological approach and focuses on the differences between the US and Luxembourg in terms of policies, recycling rates, and future plans. Sociology is the study of social life, social change, and the social causes and consequences of human behavior. Culture is the shared beliefs, attitudes, social forms, and material traits of a racial, religious, or social group. It influences everything from how we communicate to how we treat the environment. Socialization is the process by which people learn cultural norms, often through family, school, and media. In Luxembourg, children are taught the importance of recycling and how to sort waste correctly from a young age. In many parts of the US, environmental education is minimal. Norms are a principle of right action, binding upon the members of a group and serving to guide, control, and regulate proper and acceptable behavior. In Luxembourg, recycling is a normalized, expected daily practice. It is emphasized on a regular basis, and there are consequences if you deviate from this norm. In the US, convenience and individual choice often take precedence over collective environmental responsibility. There's also a low pressure to recycle. Policy is a course or principle of action adopted or proposed by a government, party, business, or individual. Policies in Luxembourg are backed by EU environmental goals and enforced nationally. In the United States, recycling is decentralized and less consistently enforced. There is no federal mandatory recycling laws in the United States. It's just mostly local and state level. Most Americans want to recycle because they want to contribute to keeping the earth healthy, but there's a lack of education about what materials can be recycled. The reason the US system is so weak is because of the previous dependence on China. Up until 2018, the US exported millions of tons of plastic, paper, and metals to China to be recycled. China's countryside and oceans became polluted. And this is when they passed their national sword policy, which banned the import of most plastics and other materials. This shift caused a major collapse in the United States recycling industry. Landfill bans. So, 18 states in the United States um, have landfill bans that make discarding materials such as yard waste, oil, and other collectibles at landfills illegal. And we also have bottle deposit laws. 10 states offer refunds for returning beverage containers to promote recycling. The Resource Conservation and Recovery Act authorizes the EPA to enforce federal hazardous waste regulations where states may not have federal recycling laws in place. Subtitle C of this act focuses on solid hazardous waste. EPA makes sure the waste is properly managed from the moment it is generated to when it is recycled or disposed. Subtitle D of the Act says that non hazardous solid waste, such as crop waste, batteries, wood, glass, asphalt, latex, and medical waste, it bans these products and materials from being openly dumped. Luxembourg has a highly organized and efficient recycling system. It's one of the best in Europe. Luxembourg requires everyone to separate their waste into specific categories: food waste, glass, paper and cardboard, plastics and metals, and other non recyclable waste. Households must use correct bins or face penalties such as fines. Since Lux is a part of the EU, they follow the EU's Waste Framework Directive. The Waste Framework Directive laws require that waste must be managed without endangering human health and harming the environment, without risk to water, air, soil, plants, or animals, without causing a nuisance or noise and odors, and without adversely affecting the countryside or places of special interest. The Waste Framework Directive provides additional labeling, record keeping, monitoring, and control obligations from waste production to the final disposal of hazardous waste. EU landfill waste policy says that EU rules aim to limit the amount of waste sent to landfills to the necessary minimum. Lux has developed its recycling system within the framework of the EU. The United States generated a total of 292.4 million tons. This is in 2018. They recycled 69 million tons, composted 25 million tons, landfilled 146.1 million tons, which equated to 32.1% being their overall recycling rate. Luxembourg's total generated MSW was 498,000 tons. Recycled and composted was 263,000 tons and landfilled 19,000 tons. This equated to a recycling rate of 52.8%. Looking forward, circular economy is a concept both countries are striving for. A circular economy is one that strives to use resources in the most efficient, non destructive way for as long as possible. This would minimize waste exponentially and even eliminate entirely. Lux has become a leader in circular economy by making impressive progress. Even though this is a goal for 2030, a circular economy is already present in many sectors of the Luxembourg economy. The US is attempting to increase their national recycling rate to 50% by 2030. This is within the national recycling strategy. It would increase collection and improve material management and reduce contamination in recycled material stream. In conclusion, viewing the policies, recycling rates, and future plans through a sociological lens highlighted how cultural norms build values in societies. This helps to see why the US is so far behind in development when it comes to recycling. Something I thought about while researching and completing this project is how Luxembourg is significantly older than the United States by about 813 years. That is a lot of time for a country to stabilize and develop and find a method that works for them. Also, I think that Luxembourg has a large advantage by being a part of the EU. The good news is that both countries are working towards a more sustainable future through forming a circular economy. The United States could definitely learn from countries like Luxembourg. Working towards a recycling rate of 50% is a good place to start. Thank you.